Happy Camper Radio with Skip Huber.
It's that time again for the Happy Camper Radio Show, the only place to be when you're ready to talk camping. Camping is what we're about. Camping is all we talk about. Episode 189, how safe do you feel while you're away from home or even while you're at home? You know, there are individuals out there who are targeting your hard-earned money, and they're using your cell phone number to do it. If you have a phone, if your kids have a phone, you can be an easy target if you're not safe. We're going to tell you what you can do to keep yourself safe and your family at home and while out on the road. It's phone safety and security on today's edition of Happy Camper Radio.
Happy Camper Radio. Happy Camper Radio.
And as always, the Happy Camper Radio Show can be heard all around the world by great listeners just like yourself. You can find us in the iTunes Store and Podbean, Myro Guide, Stitcher, the BlackBerry Podcast Directory, iHeartRadio, Google Play Music, and now on Spotify. Tell your friends to tune in to Happy Camper Radio today. You can get in touch with us here at the show by calling 404-537-2267. That's 404-537-CAMP. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker, add us to Circles on Google+, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go to www.happycamperradio.com, and that's where you'll find all of our social media icons. Take the studio tour, see what we've got going on behind the scenes. A lot of good camping information is right there at your fingertips, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's www.happycamperradio.com. And Daniel is joining us back in the studio. Hey, Daniel.
Hello.
Good to see you again.
Yes.
We had a wonderful time on Memorial Day, didn't we?
We did. It was a little wet, but
Daniel, that's
we
that's
made
something,
do.
That's something that is just really irritating me. Now, I have lived here in Georgia for, I want to say, about the past 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the absolute worst I have ever seen it.
As opposed,
I'm talking, we've had weather that was just downright nasty for 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, rain every day.
Every single day. I really thought we were going to cut a break right around Memorial Day.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you and the wife came on over, and we did some cooking out on the grill, and I was hoping we were going to get a slight break, but no. What did I have to do? I had to bring the grill right under the overhang, right up against the patio door,
Mm-hmm.
and I stood right there in the kitchen, and I barbecued.
You did.
Smoke came inside the kitchen, and I heard about that.
Oh, you did.
Yes,
that was very interesting.
But, it's just a real bummer that, a lot of folks, just not only us, but there were some folks that really set some time aside to go camping, and they got washed out.
Speaking of that, we were supposed to be going up to Nashville that weekend. My work asked me to work, and I really didn't want to work, but the weather looked bad, and I just made a decision, I might as well work and get the extra money, and I don't want to go camping if there's more than a 60% chance of rain. That's just not the way I want to spend my off time because it's so precious to me.
I totally understand. I know exactly where you're coming from, but the rain was just horrible. And we had a couple days here this past week, where we've had some great weather. I was able to get the lawn mowed.
Yeah,
but that's just
I got to mow
it
it again. It dried out for like one day. I cut the grass. It's already up, and I cut it really short. I just bought a new lawnmower. I cut it really short, and it's back up. It's at least 4 or 5 inches now. It's crazy.
Yeah. And the rain will just make that grass just grow unbelievably fast.
You ain't kidding.
But, for those of you folks who did have an opportunity to go out and enjoy Memorial Day, I hope you had some good weather and everything went well for you. Primitive campers around here, and being the fact, Daniel, we have Stone Mountain Park Campground so close, I can only imagine how depressing it was, especially for the people who already made reservations, who showed up here to take in the sights and sounds and got washed out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it does happen. Hey, speaking of Memorial Day, I come across this, Daniel, and I've got to run this by our listeners here. TripAdvisor recently did a survey of Americans regarding Memorial Day plans, and they listed the top 5 activities. And Daniel, this blows my mind because camping was not on the list.
What?
No.
Really?
Yeah. All right. The first one was enjoying a cookout or a barbecue.
Yeah.
Which we did. I mean, that's okay. Can you believe shopping was on the list at number 2?
They have a lot of sales, and it's like the beginning of summer, and I know a lot of kids get out around this time, so I could kind of see that. But I don't know. I see when I think of top 5 things or 10 things that you want to do on Memorial Day, they usually include active things like sporting events or camping or boating or something active, going to a theme park,
Mm-hmm.
That's
Well,
crazy.
Along those lines, swimming and water sports was number 3 on the list.
Yeah, I figured that.
Okay. Hiking, number 4.
Okay, I
For
can
those
get into
who
that.
went hiking on Memorial Day, they had to bring their umbrella with them.
Yeah, well,
All right.
it's not so bad when, like, in this part of the country, when you're in the thick brush of it, it's not too bad because the you have the green canopy to shelter you from a lot of the rain, so it's not too bad.
And number 5 on the list was visiting a park or a national park.
Okay,
And I could go along with that.
Kind of like camping.
I mean, it's something for you to do on Memorial Day.
Yeah,
Especially taking time to recognize those who served and paid the ultimate sacrifice.
yeah.
And that's what Memorial Day is all about, rain or shine.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But it's just the beginning of summer. It's the unofficial first day of summer on Memorial Day. And let's just hope some good weather comes our way.
Yeah, I say
in the
bring
weeks
back
and
the
months
drought.
home.
That's what I say. I
Oh,
always say
my
bring back
heavens.
the drought.
Well, I don't want to go that far, but hey, I do want to have some nice camping weather and be able to get out there and do some things.
It's gotten so bad that up in Helen they do this tubing thing. Helen's like a mountain town up in North Georgia, and they have a Bavarian theme to it. It looks like a German village, and they have tubing every summer. We've gotten so much rain, they've had to close that down for a while. So that's a little depressing because
That was
that's
all
really
over
fun.
the news down here, too.
That's,
Yes.
That's a lot of fun to do that kind of stuff. And we've just gotten so much rain that they had to close it down for a bit. So hopefully it'll open pretty soon because I might like to go up there and try that out.
Yeah, well, enough of that depressing garbage. Well, anyway, Daniel, hey, before we go on any further, I want to take a moment to open the shout-out window. We got some folks who signed up for social media here, and I want to take an opportunity to recognize them. First of all, we want to say hello to Audrey Dozginkowski, Thomas Kelly of Colorado Springs, Colorado, Justin Clayson of Red Deer, Alberta. They like us on Facebook. To Jonah and Co. of California. The Average Joe Camper, I like that, of Orange, California. They're following us on Twitter. And finally, to Michael Brown, who subscribed to our YouTube channel. Thank you, each and every one of you, for being aboard. Glad to have you here. And more importantly, thank you for being a part of our great Happy Camper radio family. Want to be a guest on the program? I'd love to have you. Get in touch with me, Skip, S-K-I-P, at happycamperradio.com, and we'll make that happen. Daniel, the Great American Campout is just around the corner again.
All right.
Coming up here on Saturday, June the 23rd. If you have that day open and the weather is nice and you want to go out and do some camping, that will be the day to do it. Take the pledge by going to their website. And, it's something we do each and every year. But here's the thing, Daniel, not everybody is available to go camping on that one day.
Mm-hmm.
But just take the pledge and go camping anytime between now and October.
Okay.
You've got a wide open calendar there. You can go ahead and do it.
I can do that.
And you also have a chance to win a week-long stay at Yogi Bear's Jellystone Park.
Where's that at? I think I've been there. Is that in Tennessee?
I think it is.
I've been there.
I have to look that one up.
I've been
Daniel,
there
but-
as a kid. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was really cool. We went there when I was a little kid. That
It
was
brings
a lot
the
of fun.
kid out in you, doesn't
It
it?
does.
Uh-huh.
I love to see that sign on the way over there.
Yeah. But, I'll put a link here on happycamperradio.com, and you can go ahead and click on that and, definitely take the pledge to go camping. It's something worthwhile, and, it brings out the best in everybody. Take the family out, turn off all the electronic devices, and go camping. You just can't beat it. Well, Daniel, I don't know if you're suffering some of the things that I suffer, but do you get robocalls
All the time.
on your phone?
It's called Do Not Disturb. You set Do Not Disturb on your, we have iPhones. I know you and me have iPhones. But basically what you do is you go to your settings, you go to your personal settings, and you go to who you want calls from. I only want calls from my contacts because if I don't know you, I don't want to hear from you. But The problem with that is when I call like a company for my roof or my gutters or something, they're supposed to call me back. I put on the do not disturb. I'm never going to hear from them. I
Right.
mean, they'll send me a voicemail, but I want to get that call, so I'll turn it off. And oh my goodness, I realize why I have it on at all times. Student loans. Skip, I never went to college. I don't have student loans. I've never been to school. Every day, I'll hang up. I won't even answer. And just 2 minutes later, back, refinance loan, blah, 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 credit score. Oh, it's so annoying.
There are so many predatory callers and collectors out there, and it's just really getting bad. And, if you're not careful, these people can take advantage of you.
Mm-hmm.
And they will not only use you, but they'll use your kids too. Just because your kid has a cell phone doesn't mean that they're immune from these individuals and they will not call them. They will.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And these individuals, they will call all hours of the day and night. Now, like yourself, if I don't recognize a phone number, I don't answer it.
Mm-hmm.
If the number does not appear in my address book, I do not answer it. But that's not going to stop these people from calling. And there are some things that you can do to protect yourself even further. Whether you're at home or away on a camping trip, these people can get to you. I have always encouraged people to turn off your phone while you're camping. Now, I understand that's not always feasible for some people. There are some individuals who do have to check in with the office. And that's just a way of life. It may be the type of a job that they have and the type of work that they're in, and they've got to stay in touch. But for anybody else, I highly encourage them, take that phone, lock it in the glove box, turn it off, just take some family time and spend it with your family. Unfortunately, for a lot of folks, these phones, cell phones, Androids, whatever you want to call them, have been a part of our everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
And people feel detached without them. And they can't even get away and enjoy some time, some quality family time without that phone attached to their hip. Now, Daniel, some of these calls are from telemarketers and some are from crooks. But even telemarketers, and I understand, some people get in that line of work to make money and they make commissions off their phone calls. I don't blame people for wanting to work, but when you're calling me at home or on my personal time and trying to sell me something that I don't want anyway, I've got a problem with that. A lot of these calls are computer generated. It's amazing what computers have done these days. Have you ever picked up on one of these calls before in the past? And I know I have, and I'm sure just about a lot of other people have. But you pick up the phone and there's dead silence.
Yeah, that
And
happens all the time.
You say hello again, and then finally somebody picks up the phone.
Mm-hmm.
They're just going to go ahead and leave these calls run right after the other until somebody picks up. And then when that happens, whoever is trying to sell you something, whoever is trying to collect something from you is going to pick up the phone, and there they've got you.
Well,
So-
it actually goes further than this. I don't know if you were intending on going this far, but there are some people that will call random numbers, and if someone picks up, you won't hear anything. They're not going to do anything, but they'll know that that is a phone number that they can use to like call other countries, and there's some way that they can make money off your number, putting it on a list. There's this podcast that I listened to one time. It was called Reply All, and they do a lot of internet stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about this. They were talking about why these people get all these calls, and they looked deeper into it, and they found out that it's a lot of people just trying to collect active numbers, and it's just calling numbers, and just trying to get them on a list so they can make like 5-10 cents at a time.
5 or 10 cents per call. Those things can add up.
Yeah,
They really can.
I don't remember exactly how it is, but if our listeners, I would suggest going to that podcast and listening to that, because it's really interesting. Because like some people were getting calls, and it sounds like someone's at a basketball game or something. And they're like, "What? Why do I hear people at a basketball game?" And it was very, very weird and very interesting. But like anything from another country, you get billed for it. It's like back in the days when with all the 1-900 and 1-800 numbers, they can use your number and it will be charged on your cell phone bill. You think just because, okay, I've got unlimited data, unlimited calls, they can still add on little fees like back in the day when, you'd call all these crazy numbers. You call up the psychic hotline and stuff. But yeah, they're still doing that kind of stuff, and it's kind of scary. It really is. But I would highly encourage people to check out that episode if they've ever experienced anything like that.
Well, one of the things I like about cell phones is the fact that you've got caller ID on them. When you had back in the day, Daniel, landlines, and most people didn't have caller ID. The phone rang and you felt obligated to answer it, no matter who it was. And you didn't know who was on the other end of the line. But, today things are different. Kids who have cell phones, like I say, are not immune from robocalls. And it's important as parents to educate your kids because dangers lurk out there on the phone just like they do on the internet. Now, there is the Do Not Call registry. Are you registered with that, Daniel?
No, I think that's only for landlines.
No, it's for cell phones.
Oh,
too.
is it?
It is.
Oh,
Yes,
I didn't know that.
And it's run by the Federal Trade Commission. It's donotcall.gov, www.donotcall.gov. And you can register your home phone, your mobile numbers there. You must call from the number that you're registering. There's no charge for this service. Registration never expires. And you can register not only your phone, but somebody else's phone who's there in the house. You can verify your registration at any time. And you can also use that website to report unwanted calls. But of course, there are some organizations that still may call you, even though you are registered with donotcall.gov. And those include charities, political groups, and get ready for those right around election time, Daniel. November's around the corner. Debt collectors and surveys. Those four groups right there still may call you, even though you're registered with donotcall.gov. Mm-hmm. If you receive unwanted calls, your best action, like we say, is do not answer the call. If you don't recognize the number is not in your address book, simply ignore it. Don't interact with the caller if by chance that you pick that phone up. If you start to hear a sales pitch, if you start to hear somebody wanting to, like in your case there, claim that you owe money on a student loan and you never went to college. Mm-hmm. All right, hang up on that individual. Don't press any buttons. This is also very important. Do not press any buttons on your phone to be taken off the list. If you get one of those calls and says, I'm sorry, we didn't mean to call you, we got the wrong number, if you will just simply press the number 8 on your phone right now, it'll automatically take you off. Do not do that. It's a trick. It's set up.
Yeah. I did that one time.
Oh, my heavens.
Okay,
you did not.
Let me get back to what I was saying before. I looked it up. It was an episode of, it's by Gimlet Media. It's a podcast, and it's episode 104, and it talks about 800 numbers. You know how different businesses have 800 numbers, and they use them to do certain things to make them like micro transactions, and it's very interesting. So if anyone's interested, I would definitely listen to that. And it's exactly the kind of stuff that we deal with, and it gets kind of scary.
I'll tell you, Daniel, I did like 800 numbers at one time. I did. That was back before cell phones were in our world.
I remember.
Because any time you were calling outside of your prefix, at least in our area, it was a toll call. Well, 800 numbers were always free.
Yeah, I remember, that's how you found out what movies were playing, like Movie Phone, and, there was a weather phone, and there was, 511, and you could do all kinds of silly stuff, and I think it was only, 50 cents, and that was the internet before the internet, kind of. It was, through your phone, and that was a crazy time.
Yeah. You can also check with your phone provider about call blocking. If you get repeated calls from the same number, oftentimes, there's a service that you may have to subscribe to. And I don't think that's right. I think it's something that the phone company should provide you free of charge. If you want to block somebody, you shouldn't have to pay for it. Yet nobody should have to pay for the right not to be harassed.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. The Federal Trade Commission has sued hundreds of businesses over the years for illegal calls. But some of these are not easy to catch due to current technology. There are scammers out there who are using internet phones.
Yeah.
Some of these calls are, like I say, generated even from overseas.
Oh, they're all overseas.
Well, I don't want to say all of them are overseas, but some
I'd
of them
say
are right here.
most of them are
right.
from overseas.
I don't want to talk to them anyway. You should still report these unwanted calls to the Federal Trade Commission because what they can do is they can analyze complaint data and trends in order to catch some of these crooks. They're not all going to be caught. Most of them, I say, will not. But, if they get plenty of calls, plenty of complaints from people all across the country, who are repeatedly being harassed by individuals at the same group of numbers, they may be able to narrow down. I believe the technology is out there where they can finally pinpoint who these individuals are and take them to court and prosecute them. That's the way I look at it. You don't need to be out here taking advantage of good, hardworking individuals and trying to get their money. All right. Scammers will use fake or what they call spoof caller ID numbers. Beware of this. I get a lot of these calls too, Daniel. The area code and the first three numbers, the prefix, oftentimes show up on my phone to make it look like it's a local call.
Yeah. Yep. I see that too.
I get that quite a bit. But if I don't recognize the number, again, you don't answer it. There are fake bill collectors out there, a ton of them. They're going to try to convince you that you owe a debt. They'll attempt to get credit card and banking information. Some of these collectors, what they do is they purchase what is called zombie debt. Have you ever heard of that, Daniel?
Oh, yeah.
It is debt that is so old, it is past the statute of limitations. It's expired. And a lot of these debt collectors will purchase these so-called zombie debts for pennies on the dollar and will do whatever they can to try to collect, even though the statute of limitations has expired. They will constantly harass you and try to make you pay up. And there are sleazy collectors out there, Daniel, and don't think this don't happen. And this is why I encourage, some of our valued listeners, if you have kids and your kids have cell phones, play this episode to them, or at least take the time to educate your kids on cell phone safety, whether it be at home, at camp, or wherever they may be, because there are some of these sleazy collectors that will play your kids, and they will threaten to put the parents in jail if they do not pay.
Yep.
Yes. Do you know your mom owes this? Do you know your dad owes this?
Well, that's illegal.
Yeah. It's illegal, but they do it. They don't care, Daniel. They really don't. And they'll try to use the kids to obtain the parents' financial information. Try to convince them to go get your parents' checkbook. Now, don't tell them this. Don't tell them this, okay? If you do this, your parents are not going to go to jail. Yeah, they will do things. They'll try to, get credit card information. So it's important that you educate your kids. I'm not saying that everybody out there does this, but there are some real sleazy collectors that will go beyond what is legal to try to get money out of your pocket. Even legitimate collectors, Daniel, cannot call you if you instruct them not to.
Yep.
If you simply tell them you do not want to be bothered, they cannot call you. It's always good to back it up with a certified letter.
Yeah.
Postal Service, you ought to know what that's
Yeah.
Okay. But, hey, there is something I wanted to go ahead and share with our listeners.
Okay.
Something, and I don't know if you have one of these apps, Daniel, but I've got it on my phone. And it comes in very, very handy, and you can find it in the App Store no matter if you have an Android or an iPhone. These apps will help you block unwanted phone calls.
Okay.
Again, there's several out there, but there's a couple of them that are real popular. One of them is called Nomo Robo, Nomorobo, Nomo Robo. This is okay. It works, so I understand. I've never tried it before, but I believe it requires a subscription. The one that I use is called Hiya, Hiya. And this one's a very good one, Daniel, and it's free. All right, there's no attachments to it at all. You can very simply download it to your iPhone or your Android. And if it is a number that is in the Hiya database as being one that is labeled a problem caller, a fraudulent bill collector, or a scamster, they will go ahead and let you know right off the bat. The number will appear on your screen, and right there it'll say Hiya, fraudulent call.
Wow.
And you know not to answer that.
It's funny. I'm looking at my call history now, and I've got all these calls from out of Atlanta, and it's like 404-555. And I was like, 555? Isn't that what they used in the movies back in the day?
That is, Daniel.
I think that's so funny.
But yeah, I tell you, I love this Hiya app. I've been using it for well over a year now.
Okay.
And it comes in very handy. Again, the best course of action, never answer a call or any number that you do not recognize.
Yeah, I mean, if it's that important, they're going to leave a message. I mean, guess what? These people never leave messages, ever.
No, even a telemarketer I have not ever heard is going to leave you a message.
And if they do, it's just a robocall that just went too long. And that's all it is. You'll hear the last, 2 seconds or something of it.
Now, one of the things that's been happening around here lately, and I've gotten one of these calls, Daniel. In fact, I should have downloaded the message that was on my phone. There was a message that says that you are being investigated by the Internal Revenue Service.
Oh, wow.
And you need to call this number immediately. And I've noticed on a couple of the newscasts, they have done some stories on this, especially right around tax time. Some of these individuals will call you up and say you owe a debt for 2016, and it's like $8,000. And they will convince you that you owe that amount of money. And you're going to say, no, I don't, and I don't have that. I don't have that kind of money. And if they get you hook, line, and sinker, what they'll try to get you to do is go down to your local Walgreens store or your local Walmart store and purchase what is called a green card.
Yeah, I've heard of those.
All right. And what you've got to do is they'll tell you to stay on the line with them the entire time. And when you get back, after you've uploaded that money onto that green card, they're going to have you scratch off the back and ask you to give them the code. And once you give them the code, they get your money.
Wow.
I really find it hard to believe that people fall for that. But, a lot of folks, Daniel, that they manage to get.
They wouldn't do it if people didn't fall for it.
And it's sadly, a lot of the folks that are getting caught up in all this are the elderly.
You got to be educated. I mean, ignorance is not an excuse anymore. I mean, you can't be like, I'm too old for computers. Because, I mean, everyone has a telephone. And if you don't know this kind of stuff, you can be scammed. You're more likely to be scammed, I think. So you just have to be educated. You can't be ignorant about this kind of stuff.
And one of the nice things, too, about the Hiya app is if you get a number that you do not recognize and do not answer, after the call expires, say after 5 rings and it goes to voicemail, you can actually go into the Hiya app, plug in that phone number, and in most cases, it's going to tell you who it was calling you. All right. Even some of the ones that don't appear up immediately as a fraudulent call, if you plug that number into Hiya, the screen will turn orange and it'll be like a warning, this is the problem here. And it also has a list of complaints from individuals who also received a phone call from that number.
Wow.
And they'll tell you their experiences. You can just scroll down and see what some of the folks are saying. And the neat thing about it is, too, Daniel, when you absolutely detect one of those numbers, you have the option to block that call and not be bothered by them again. Yeah. Okay, and it's so great. Again, folks, it's Hiya, Hiya. You can find it in the App Store. It's a free download. Get it for yourself. Get it for your kids. It comes in very, very handy. And today, even though, Daniel, we haven't talked much about camping, safety is first and foremost, no matter if you're on vacation or not. It's time now for our featured campground of the week here on the Happy Camper Radio Show.
Happy Camper Radio. Happy Camper Radio.
And today we're going to take you out to the state of Virginia. Daniel, I think you get up there a little more than I do.
I used to live there when I was in the Navy.
Oh, okay.
Kind of, on a boat.
Well, here's a place you probably have not been to before. It's the Cave Mountain Lake Family Camp. It's run by the George Washington and Jefferson National Forest. Cave Mountain Lake Family Camp is nestled in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia, offering a rustic and peaceful camping getaway, easy interstate access, close proximity to historic Lexington, and access to Natural Bridge make Cave Mountain Lake an ideal spot. Cave Mountain Lake covers 7 acres and was built in the 1930s by the Civilian Conservation Corps, using existing buttresses of natural rock to form a 35-foot dam. A grassy field extends from the lake's sandy beach, and the hills lush with hardwood and conifer trees paint a scenic backdrop. A lot of information is available right there on the website. You can check it out. Cave Mountain Lake offers 28 reservable sites and 13 campsites remain first come, first serve only. Amenities at each campsite include a picnic table, lantern post, a campfire ring with a grill, flush toilets, and water spigots. Definitely check out the know before you go items. Bears and other wildlife frequent the area. Keep all food stored in approved containers or locked in your vehicles. Remember, don't move firewood. Help protect your forest from those tree-killing pests by purchasing your firewood locally and burning it on site. For more information, check out don'tmovefirewood.org, or you can find the link on happycamperradio.com. But Daniel, this is an excellent time to go camping. Hopefully the rain will not be moving in the area when you go up there. Check out some of the pictures on the website too. It's a lot of beautiful greenery. Consider Cave Mountain Lake Family Camp in Virginia. It is our featured campground of the week here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. And as always, if you have a campground you'd like for us to feature on the program, get in touch with me. Skip, S-K-I-P, at happycamperradio.com. Be sure to include a link to the campground website. And Daniel, that's about going to wrap up this episode of the Happy Camper Radio Show. Warmer days are ahead. Keep your spirits up. That's all we can do.
That's all we can do.
But anyway, yeah, hey folks, remember, every pet deserves a loving home. I want you to do exactly what I did. Visit your local shelter and adopt a pet today. You can find us online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at www.happycamperradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker, add us to Circles on Google+, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. The Happy Camper Radio Show is a presentation of Skip Uber Productions. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper. Daniel's a happy camper.
Woo!
And no doubt, my friends, we're going to do our best to make a happy camper out of you. Talk to you again real soon. Have a good one, everybody. You're listening to Happy Camper Radio.
Happy Camper Radio.